Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone. Today we will study and discuss the poem The Second Coming, which was written by the Irish poet William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats' poetry is rich in myth, symbols, and imagery. His symbolic poems represent a variety of things. Yeats believed that art and politics were intrinsically linked, and used his writing to express his attitudes toward Irish politics as well as to educate his readers about Irish cultural history. The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the winding gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Monarchy is lost upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is lost, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming hardly are those words out, when a vast image out of spirits mundi troubles my sight somewhere in sands of the desert. A shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness droops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what trove beast its hour come round at last, slouched towards Bethlehem to be born. The second coming begins with a feeling of loss of control, turning and turning in the winding gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Yeats wrote the second coming while most of the world was recovering from World War I. Yeats saw the trouble all around himself, and everything spinning out of control. The falcon representing man, and the falconer representing God. So is symbolizing a man turning away from God and of the goose chair that was there at the end of the way. The falcon representing man and the falconer representing God is symbolizing man turning away from God and of the chaos that was there at the end of the way. The gyre is an important symbol in Yeats' poetry. It stands between two historical times, harmony and chaos. The next two lines, things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Monarchy is lost upon the world, invokes a deeper feeling of loss of control. The first line shows the images of the more chaos that will come. The poem then changes into a description of anarchy and violence in which the ceremony of innocence is drowned. Here, the speaker is troubled that only bad people seem to be enthusiastic now. To Yeats, the second coming sketched in the poem is hardly the Christian coming, the celebration of the universal presence of the Savior coming on clouds of glory to judge the world. The blood-dimmed tide is lost, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. Describes a scene of violence and terror. This line can be a metaphor for the chaos that came at the end of the war, and all of the destruction that came with it. The last two lines in the first stanza of the poem are the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. If the best lack all conviction, is there any way that they are good? Believing in something enough to take action on it is a part of what being good is about. Reversely, the worst have all the intensity on their side, which is good for them, but not for everyone else. Here, after the war, things were so chaotic that you could not tell the good and the bad apart. The second stanza of the poem begins by showing the reader a new vision. Surely some revelation is at hand. The speaker has a vision that the violence that is engulfing all the society as a sign that the second coming is at hand. It is a revelation of something which is unveiled. In the next lines, the second coming hardly are those words out when a vast image out of spirits Monday troubles my sight somewhere in sands of the desert. The speaker has a vision that the Savior is here. The spirits Monday symbolize spirits of the world of the collective consciousness. The speaker, through his connection to the world, is giving glimpses into a vision that shows him somewhere in the sands of the desert. The speaker sees a shape with lion body and the head of a man. This can symbolize the Sphinx or mythical creature, a shape with lion body and the head of a man. He could also be describing the beast from the book of Revelations. Is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. By calling its gaze pitiless, maybe he doesn't mean evil of that it has bad intentions. It could be that pitiless makes it have expression that is not human. After the speaker has his vision from the spirits Monday, the darkness drops again. But now, I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by the rocking cradle. The speaker was left with a strong prophetic vision. The speaker has an idea of something he didn't know before, especially that this strange beast is a symbol that will affect the future. These lines directly relate to the end of the war and the magnitude of destruction that was seen during World War I, especially the advancement in that can only progress to bring more destruction. The poem ends with the question, and what rough beast its hour come round at last, slouched towards Bethlehem to be born. The object of the speaker vision, which was before described as a pitiless beast, is now described as a rough beast on its way to Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christ. Here, Yeats is using the story of the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem as a metaphor of the passage of this beast from the spirit's world to the real world, where the results of its appearance will be experienced by all the people. We can see that this work is generally viewed as a relation of the end of the historic era. The Second Coming is one of Yeats' most commented poems. Many scholars are of the opinion that this poem is a great example of Yeats' apocalyptical and cyclical interpretation of history. In fact, The Second Coming is regarded as a masterpiece of modern poetry and is variously interpreted by scholars, whose main goal is to unfold its mystical and apocalyptical symbolism. Now I finished from study and analyze this poem. Thank you, and I will meet you in second lecture. Thank you. Goodbye.